Please join me in welcoming Nolan Krueger to the stage.
All right. Well, good to be with y'all. It's good to share some space with community and to have some folks from the department, some colleagues here. Get to talk about the work that we're doing over a beer. It's not, really that orthodox way that we get to talk about the work, so that's nice. So I'm Dr. Nolan Krueger. I'm an assistant professor in the Counseling, Clinical, and School Psych Department. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I'm also the co-director of Healing Space. So Healing Space, we have some of our folks here. We are a collaborative of students, of clinicians, of faculty, who have all come together to serve the mental health, wellness, healing, kind of liberatory aims of Black community, broadly, and here in Santa Barbara. So that vision has brought us together. I'm excited to share a bit more with you all in the 8 minutes that we have. So, but to kind of set the context, right, we've been doing some trivia questions. So I have a trivia question of my own for y'all. So Healing Space was founded in 2020, a couple years before me and my counterpart. Where is the animations? It was a Canva that was turned to a PowerPoint. Well, unfortunately, it's not a good answer. So, 2020, Healing Space came to be. It was a challenging time, and issues that Black community have faced for a long time were coming to the fore for folks who may not pay attention all the time. And through the efforts of organizers, the Toes Foundation, and connected with the Hosford Clinic, which is our training clinic at CCSP, Healing Space was established to address this urgent need. There's 0 Black mental health professionals in the area. So, to kind of step back a bit, Healing Space emerged as a place kind of like an impact hub, a place for folks to come together and be in community, talk about the experience of what it's like to be Black in this moment, what it's like to be Black in a predominantly white area, right? And to be able to have a space where you know that you can actually see yourself reflected in others. And through that, we were able to say, okay, how can we use the resources and the amazing training program we have at UCSB to also then train the next generation of Black psychologists? And so that is kind of the two main elements of the work at Healing Space, is providing therapeutic services, individual therapy, group therapy, family therapy for Black identified folks in the county, and also training Black identified doctoral students. So we find ourselves in this space where we've inherited this beautiful initiative with folks like Jason, Angela, and our crew, who's been here for longer than I have. But we realize that the work is not just in sitting in a room, sitting across from one person, and saying, how can we make sure you feel a little better as we get you back in the world that has created these traumas and these issues that are creating this distress to begin with, right? So we're stepping back and saying, how do we bring community together? How do we meet people where they are? How do we look at the systems that are creating these stressors and try to change them, right? And so you can kind of break down our work into 3 buckets, all right? We have our services. So that's the individual, the group, the family work. But it's also stepping out into community through initiatives like Raising Liberated Black Youth. So we're partnered with Santa Barbara Unified, Goleta Unified, we're moving into Lompoc, and we're able to actually bring kids together. I remember being a mixed Black kid in a suburb in the Bay Area, growing up in Oakland and then moving to a suburb and being the only kid, and having these narratives in my head like, okay, why am I feeling like I'm being tokenized? Why am I feeling like they think I'm cool, but maybe they don't? And then, experiencing stereotypes that we've been experiencing forever. You listen to these students and they talk about the same kind of thing. But we're now able to bring folks together and actually provide transportation so that students can come, be in space together and say, hey, you experience that too? We experience that too? Okay, well, what does healing look like for us? What does joy look like for us? How can we define that? So that's one of the big differences here We're not taking a prescription, a top-down idea of what therapy looks like, but we're creating it in community, right? So the name of the talk was Liberation in Practice, and we actually had a meeting today, and we talked about, well, what does liberation mean, right? And I think existing in that question is part of the work, right? Making space for folks to exist in the question of how do we define liberation together. We also have our training program. And so I remember another notable moment today, our training director, Malachi Cote, who's based in Sacramento, amazing psychologist and just an absolute asset to the work we do. And they said, we want the effect of our training program to be when other psychologists meet them and go, oh man, the work that you're doing, it feels different. It feels grounded in community. It feels empowering. It feels uplifting. Where did you train? And then you go, oh, at Healing Space. They go, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense, right? So we want to train folks who are dedicated to the liberation and empowerment of Black communities. So we have our training program. As I said, Black Identified Doc students. It's a 3-year program. They come in their first year. They are being steeped in liberation psychologies and Black psychology, in the history, and also looking at how we decolonize the work. In their second year, they're training in the Hosford Clinic, so they're starting to see clients, but then they're also able to then, we have our Healing Space as a sub-clinic kind of within Hosford, so they can work directly with Black folks who get referred to our space. And then in the third year, they continue to do that work. So there's a sustainability. It's not a quick in and a quick out, right? We're really building community. But we also have now developed our fellowship program, which is for Black and non-Black identified allies who are dedicated to the work, right? And so they're attending our didactic, where we are reading work about healing justice and decolonizing. And they are partnering with our trainees and our students to create initiatives and programs, right? So, for example, we have our Coastal Care Workers program. That's working with farm workers and activists to train in what's called radical mental health first aid. So this is about peer support. This is about being able, again, to do it in community, to not have to exit your community and go to an isolated space and say, let's come in here and let me, this is the only safe space for my challenges to live. But how can we really marry social action and the root of these health disparities and an awareness of those things with our understanding of healing and doing that in community, right? We also have our Healing the Healers program because we've also been trained in these paradigms. We've been trained in approaches that further pathologize people and say, hey, there's something wrong with you, let's fix it. And so unlearning that together and saying, okay, well, how have we been taught that we don't belong? How have we been taught not to affirm ourselves in this work? And so being able to work with mental health professionals in the county and hopefully beyond, to do that inner work and have that extend outward is also the goal. And finally, our scholarship. Sometimes we think about research as quantitative or stat heavy and sample size and something in the abstract, but this again is in community. This is identifying the needs of folks and being able to establish the outcomes and the effect of approaches that are not traditionally funded or given the kind of spotlight or support that they deserve, so that we can scale this. Because the idea here too is this is unique. It's unique to be in an APA accredited program and to have a clinic where folks can get their hours toward internship that actually move them toward being a licensed psychologist, and do so in an environment that's decolonizing, that's affirming, that's empowering, that's Black centered. And so to be able to take that to scale, right, is part of the larger vision. And so finally, I started to get into it, and I think I hear my time. So let me bring it to a close here. We're expanding our partnerships and our services. We work with my counterpart, Shola Shaddai-Zumal, is an incredible visionary, incredible psychologist, has coined this idea of a conduit of care. So health is not just about what's up here, it's embodied, it's in how we feel in the world, it's in what we eat, it's what we have access to, and just being able to know who those people are, right? When you drive through the South, they talk about a green book. You gotta know who the people are who are gonna take care of you. And being in a space that doesn't always feel safe, doesn't always feel empowering, knowing who those folks are, is incredibly important, and there are a lot of people who are doing the work, so we're expanding our partnerships to be in connection with them, and to pursue more sustainable funding. So if you want to get more involved or learn more, I have information for you all, and if you think that this is something that someone in your life could benefit from, or that you want to be more involved in or stay connected with us, please come holla at me. I will get you connected, I'll share all the info, and thanks for giving me some time.